Time to build 2 gates. Got a good drawing made up. I'll try and cut it in. But yeah, about $163 in materials. That's 16 1x4s at $4.78 a piece. 2 boxes of 1 1/4 star head deck mate screws at $10 a piece, and these were $25 a piece. So $163 for 2 gates. Let's see what we can do. Welcome back from the cutting party. That was a good time. A little bit of scrap, not too much waste. Boards like that I keep. They do not go to waste around here. So I got my 4 pieces at 30 right there, and then my 9 pieces at 36.5. If you were paying attention during the time lapse, you'll see that I cut one of them wrong. And it just so happens I needed a 30 still because I was trying to minimize waste. So it worked out. So let's do kind of a dry assembly and see what it looks like. There we have a quick layout. That actually went together very quick and pretty easy. I'm not unhappy with that. I don't like these gaps down here, but I don't really think there's much I can do about that. I do need to get another measurement for the diagonal, and that's the only board I have left to cut. Then I can start assembling. My plan is basically to not glue from here to here this guy, so that way I can adjust. That'll be my adjustment method. What happened inside the house when I did the gate there is I had figured out something wrong and I didn't have the right width overall, so I took it out of this piece and that worked out really well. But what I really have to contend with here is the existing gates that I showed you that I'm replacing have been pushing out at the top. So I'm literally going to have to cut a 1/2 inch. It starts at 0 here. No, it starts at 0 there, cuts down to a 1/2 inch down here, so I can make it a flush opening. Yep, but let's see if I can get a measurement and I can go ahead and make, well, I don't want to make that diagonal yet because I need to make sure this is all assembled first before I do that. When I cut the diagonal before, I started my edge here and I finished it there, and that looks okay. I might do that again. Back working on these gates. Gonna go ahead and just assemble the actual gate portion today, trying to overcome, as these boards dry, some of the cupping and warping that they're doing. As you can see here, I've got this one stacked with stuff as it dries. It's definitely cupping on me, but I accounted for that in my estimate for materials, so hopefully I can overcome it. But you can see these other sets that I cut the other day are already starting to warp. So I'm aware that that is a possibility, especially as wet as these 1x4s were. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try to assemble one tonight, just one of the gates, and see if it'll hold up fine as it dries. But yeah, look, I just noticed. Look at that guy. Ooh, too far, sorry. Yeah, he's very happy, very, very happy. I'm gonna have to flip him over and weight him down. But yeah, there's your update for my lumber rack. It's holding quite a bit of wood and no visible signs of sagging, so happy with that. All right, well, I suppose it's about that time, y'all. I'm, 15 years into my YouTube career. It's time for a confession. I have tried figuring out how to do these spaces between boards over and over again with online calculators, adding up the total here with how many board pickets I need and the total width, and subtract, and I can't figure it out. So I have to reveal to you my secret method. And I'm not afraid to admit it involves a hefty 3C's thick amount of trial and error, but here it is. All right, so this is the one that works, and of course it's the last one I tried because I started with 2 inches because that's what the calculator I used said it would be, and then I tried 2 1/4, and then 2 1/2, 2 3/8, 2 3/4, and finally it was the 2 7/8 that is just about perfect. You know, it's about a 16th off, but over these 3 boards, I'm not sure I can account for the 16th, nor do I think it would be noticeable. So I'm going to roll with a 2 7/8, words, trial and error and words. I'm going to roll with a 2 7/8 inch spacing between them. So, yep, that's what it looks like. Let me get the camera where you can actually see the measurement. Yep, it's right there. And the total length of the board should be 30 inches, and it is. So from here, my plan is to try and keep as many screws as I can invisible. So I think I showed you earlier, I bought some screws, some 1 1/4 screws, and my plan with those is basically from this side, go ahead and tap them in. I'm gonna probably do 3 on each, and then I will take the next board and put it over top. Well, I don't want screws visible, so from the top I'm probably gonna shoot a 2 1/2 inch pin all the way through with some glue. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, and then what I'll try and remember to do is the side that's screwed will be the side I put the hinges on, so it's the strongest. Yeah, but I mean the glue is going to do the majority of the work there structurally. So well, let's get to assembly. I just noticed this as I was about to start, and it's the ring direction and the way that board's cupping. The other one's facing the exact same way, and probably a little bit of an illusion, but I think it's starting to cup that way as well. So I'm gonna have to reset all this mess I just did and flip these boards so that the cupping's going towards the structure, because we want these edges on the outer sides to be nice and tight. So let me repeat all of that and then I'll start assembly. All right, we have got it. Let me just erase this evidence. So yep, you saw nothing. You know, my glue application is flawless. As you know, you see nothing. This is going to be on the inside of the board anyway. Nobody will ever see that. But I'm sure the 5 of you that are watching this video saw I've got a little bit of rocking going on. And I am perfectly square, dead square. I checked it about 4 times. So squareness is not our issue. The boards are warping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach these top 2 boards, the ones that go this way, like that. And then I'm going to check to see how the racking is. But yeah, I am worried about it. I'm probably going to end up doing something, zooming in like that, where I weigh down one side with some blocking with this entire gate to get it to dry in a way that is good. But yeah, happy with how it turned out. Obviously there are some little defects. Zooming in really close, sorry if it makes you motion sick. Remember I was telling you about the cupping in the last clip? Well, we're hiding it by doing it the way we did and flipping that board over. Now the cupping's only visible on the inside, and this is all going to be covered. So the only part you'll be able to see is on the top. And I guess while we're looking and talking, we can flip it up and see how she looks. And that's nice. Yeah. We got nice, good, strong joints here with a little glue squeeze out. Not bothered by that at all. Catch that in the sanding process. but that looks really nice. Happy with that. So, no challenges we can't overcome. Let's go ahead and I'll get you a different angle for the next time lapse. I'll get this other two boards put on and we'll take a look at the racking and then probably call it a night. Alright, Bug, I paused the time lapse just for you, just for this. You said this was satisfying to watch, so here you go. Just going out to the line, I can see where it'll be. Good spread of glue without having to get out a paintbrush and all of that, or get my thumb all gluey. It does make a bit of a mess, but it's worth it. Alright, the rocking is a little bit less. It's only moving a little bit, and I would argue that's probably some variance with the way my table saw and my outfeed table are set up. Yeah, ignore my straining voice. Few people get to hear that, and you're now one of them. Congratulations. Yeah, so I'm on the table saw now, which is relatively flat, and I've only got about an 1/8 inch of movement, so I'm really happy with that, and that looks really nice so far. Like I said, I'm gonna put the hinges on the other side, and just the glue and nail is gonna hold this side on, and I'll come back through maybe and touch these up. But this wood is still a little bit wet. I would bet as it swells and shrinks and contracts and expands again, it'll end up covering these nail holes. That's what I reckon anyway. But the gaps look good. Some sanding will be needed. It's really not bad though. I'm happy with how that came out. Some of the cupping, not terrible. Again, now that it's kind of clamped together, that might sort itself out. We will see. But stand her up. She stands up on her own. And now we got to do the diagonal off camera for Mike. Just kidding. I'm done for the day. I'll be back. Mike, this clip is for you. So literally just have the board draped across where I want it. Let me think about this for a second. So I'm here back with a marking device. I'm just gonna make a mark where that board intersects right there. And I'll do the same thing back here. Probably shouldn't do it through the camera, but I'm bringing it right to the edge so that I can see it on the other side. And I'm not gonna mark this side, sorry for the bad video work. I'm not gonna mark this side because I know it's the corner. Just gonna bring it over here and make my pencil mark right there. And now I can unclamp it. All right, it's the next day. I have this clamped down to try and work out some of the twist that was in it. I basically just propped it up on the opposite side of where it was twisted, about the same amount as the twist. So let's see how we look. It gets to about 100 degrees in here throughout the day, and neither one of these clamps were tight anymore, so I think that's a good sign. So let's pull these out. Sorry for my videography skills. And yeah, look at that. Wow, all the twist is gone. Super happy. So now I have my pencil mark on this side. I can just set my clamp, or not my clamp, my square right to this edge, to the corner up at the top, and then the pencil mark right there. And then I can make my mark. Sorry, focus is terrible. I suck at this. That's why most of my shots are done on a tripod. Okay, I'll make my mark. truth. So again, with the marks, I gave myself a little extra room, and with the cuts, I gave myself a little extra room. Basically, this one, my marks told me different, and I mirrored the cut from the other side to the top corner, and theoretically it should be the same, but I wanted to be sure, so I just mirrored, and the marks are going to be a little different. But down here you'll see I gave myself a little extra room, so that way again I can sneak up on it. So we'll see how she fits. Here's that corner, and as you can see, we still have a little bit of sneaking up to do. So let me set that just right. We still got a little bit of sneaking up to do, probably about 1/4 of an inch, and that's fine. Let's see if I set it in there, how's it look? It's not too far off. I think I still might take a 1/16 off just to see, because it's a little bit over. Take just a hair off, and then I'll come back. All right, and there's my other mark. I did basically the same thing. I did give myself a little bit of a 1/16 on the far side, just in case I need a little fitment and I can sneak up on it. So now I'm gonna cut them. I'm zooming out a little. See, I have a nice mark there, and a nice mark there, and that looks right to me. So let's cut it. Unhappy with that. It's not perfect, but just to prove my point, well, you can see in there maybe the 45 still way over there. I'm probably at 41.5 or something. So yeah, I could probably get that just a little bit better, but you know, what's the expression, good is the enemy of great or something like that. So I'm gonna roll with it like that. I think it looks good overall. So let's get to gluing and nailing. That's where it is. Like I said, happy with that. And I still got to do some sanding to get these edges down and all that, but I think I'm gonna walk over and test fit it in location. Sorry, you're gonna have to hear some dogs barking in the background, but test fit's looking good. I know I've got an uneven gap from here up, but these baby gates that I'm replacing by design are pushing out on the 4x4s for this walkway. So I designed it to be the same height as the baby gates, and it's going to swing into the landing. So I think honestly it's gonna look nice. Yep. Another thing I was just thinking of sitting here looking at this is one of the things I did differently on this gate, for one, is use 1x4s for everything. But one thing I was thinking about doing, because I don't really like the way this part looks, I was thinking of taking some offcuts and putting it here so that the thickness at the top is exactly the same as this. That way it won't look kind of janky, and when the hinges are mounted, it won't be like all the way to the edge like that. And then you have a big old gate poking out. I mean, I have plenty of offcut 1x4s, so that wouldn't hurt anything, and I think it would make it look nice. So, yeah, just thinking out. Started working on the supports, the side supports. I don't know if you see it in the videos or not, but I am building a second gate for the other side. So that is the other one. I threw that together last night. I'm experimenting with hiding the crimes of not getting a good fitment on my diagonal support. But here's the other one that you've seen. Again, experimenting here with hiding how some of the boards were a little bit cupped. So trying to fill that gap, prevent rot, because these will be exposed to the elements, but painted later on. Anyway, did pretty good on this support. I did install 3-inch deck screws through this to make it nice and strong, and we have a total of 6. Now, technically I only have 5 because this one blew out the side when I was pre-drilling, and unfortunately I just replaced it with one of the 1.25 inch. But it's all glued all the way down. Good fitment there. Happy with that. And essentially these are just standard 1x4s. The next board that I cut will have to be a 1x4 diagonal. So I've got some figuring to do, and you know, my rule is basically if you don't feel like figuring, just get to working on something else and then save the figuring for later. But I'm very quickly approaching the figuring stage, so yep. But these are the two straightest boards that I had in the pile over there. So those are the ones I'm working with now. But yeah, I just patched that hole, so I'm gonna let that dry, set this guy aside, and probably go ahead and start on my cut that I have to make. I have to make a long cut across the entirety of the 1x4, and I'm gonna need to sketch it out and make sure I have my measurements right. Almost forgot. I have been looking at this option, and honestly I think it looks nice. I brought some pieces out there with me when I fitted it up yesterday, and I think it adds a little bit of something, so I think I'm gonna roll with it. I think it'll look nice just to have a little bit of accent on these support boards, so it's not just a flat board per se. And I'll glue and tack those up. Final sanding left to do. You know, I sanded a lot of the holes and got them set up right. And you know, I attached these extra little blocking here off camera. I figured you saw them on that side. You didn't need to see it on this side too. Plus I had to set them, mark them, cut them to length because this is a shorter length 1x4. It's an offset for the 4x4 being pushed out at the top. It looks straight. I'm looking at an even gap here. I'm going to zoom you in, bear with me. I'm looking at a pretty even gap there. It's touching at the top of that clamp and touching at the bottom, so I'm not unhappy with that. Let's check the other side. Touching at the top, even gapping, touching at the bottom. And I really do like these little blocks we put on. I really think it adds to the overall look. Yeah, I've got some final sanding left to do on this one. Let's take this down a little bit, just hit all the spots. I've been using the belt sander, which is really aggressive, but when I need to remove and really flatten, like look at that. That is awesome. It's super flat, smooth, but it takes off a lot of material very fast. I think I got like a 60 on there. So yeah, it comes off quick. It's time to do some sketchy. I just did a test fit, and I'm about 1/4 inch off on the fitment because there's some racking that I didn't account for on the 4x4. So this is the uncut support board that I'm just going to cut 1/2 inch off of. So I've got 1/2 inch set up on my table saw here. I'm going to take this board and slide it along. Height looks good, so that's the plan. Sorry for having a hand in the shot. That's the plan. I'm going to set you up and video it because if I'm going to get hurt, I want to at least get it on video. I got the hardware installed. It's just did a little testing. I definitely messed up on the purchase because I did not notice that the hinge was a full 4 inches. I need a 3.5 inch hinge, but we're just going to try it for now. All 4 of the screws work and they're set in right. I just got a little bit of a lip. It's not super noticeable. This is going to be on the inside of the gate. The outside of the gate is going to be completely fastener free. That's going to look pretty good. So let's go. There she is installed. I have no gap on the right side and a bigger gap on the left side. I've adjusted the hinges, it unlatches, and pretty much closes on its own. Of course, it's not going to happen on videoing, but there you go. This is the main problem I was trying to overcome, is the racking of this 4x4 has got this twisted. But it's good and solid. It'll keep a dog inside. And yeah, happy with how it turned out. On the next one I do on the other side, I'm definitely going to put a gap on the right side. But yep, that's what it is.